so far we talked about how something like latitude relates to something like temperature. As you move away from the equator, things tend to get colder on average. And so obviously that's going to tie into things like how much heat you can generate, which is going to be tied to coupling of the mitochondria. But the other things that vary systematically across all the geographic places on Earth are things like disease burden. So there's a different density and variety of infectious diseases in equatorial places compared to higher latitude places. There's also a systematic relationship between where you are in the world and the types of foods that are available, from which you can use to generate energy in your mitochondria, cellular energy in the form of ATP. When we think about things like mitochondrial DNA diversity, the different haplogroups that are out there and sort of the types of mitochondria people can have, can you say anything about the way that might relate to the types of foods that are available in different environments, such as, for example, when we get to very, very northern environments, like, where the Inuit live in the Arctic Circle, they're basically eating ketogenic diets that are high in animal foods. There's not a lot of carbohydrates that are available as they are in the tropics or places that have an environment that's suitable for farming. What's the relationship between, environment, mitochondrial haplotype, and the types of calories that are available in these different environments?
Exactly. You just actually summarized it beautifully. The farther north you go, the less efficient photosynthesis is to generate carbohydrates in plant form. And people were then exploiting animal sources of food, which is basically fat and protein. And those then are burned to generate the energy in the mitochondria. So clearly, you would need to have a way of burning those fats very efficiently, and that, in fact, is concurrently with that the fact that you need to be adapted to cold. So the two things went together. You adapted an environment to manage fats more efficiently to fuel your mitochondria, which were uncoupled, but burning a lot more fat, so you were generating a lot more heat. So those were coupled together. Whereas in the tropics, where carbohydrates are the main source of calories, then there you have to have a very efficient way of getting calories into ATP because carbohydrates are much less calorie rich than fat. And so that again is another reason why you'd want to have very tightly coupled efficient mitochondria in the tropics. And what's happened now is that we have hamburgers sold in the tropics. And so what we have is a mismatch between a very high fat, high calorie diet placed on a set of genotypes that are more designed for low calorie density carbohydrate diets. And that then, I believe, results in things like obesity and diabetes.